All right. Cool. Another stream by myself, but that's okay. I've got work. I need to share it. I can't seem if I can't find audiences, then I'll just start making content for posterity. And anyway, I think the thing that I'm realizing, it's very hard to give presentations these days. The competition's very real. The ability for people to produce abstracts has gotten. Oh, I should turn off the screen reader. We'll get to that later. The ability for people to produce abstracts has gotten quicker, faster. I haven't really adapted to AI, so I don't know. I've never really got a presentation accepted on the up and up. It kind of sucks. But then again, like I look at what's happening, and I got one presentation accepted once, and then I found the recording process to be a nightmare. Like especially now that everything's sort of virtual. People are like making presentations without practicing or like having experience and working with that medium or even having a process for it. You get into it and you realize it takes a lot of work. So maybe the route to go is just to fucking start streaming. If that is the best I can do right now. Anyway, I think with the medium that I'm going to play with today, especially now you can see we're already going to like start off drawing. Cool. Great. Yeah, the plan today is to mess with this notebook that's kind of like chilling in the back here. Starting to teach this class a while ago. This is the first class. So I've got this notebook, and it's about the history of computational literacy and sort of digital media. So there's a content angle, and I think I'm probably going to hit on that a few times today. But overall, what I really want to do is like talk about how many different ways I've done this. So originally, when I presented it in Jupyter because I would be running the code and it would be kind of interactive. But here's the rub: when I was doing that and I was programming and I'm live with the class, I can't do stuff with the screen reader. I can use OBS's virtual camera to like pipe through the video. So maybe the video is kind of crunchy. That kind of makes sense. Let me see if I've got anything here I can close. I usually don't have a lot of crap open. Nope. Let's actually close one thing and sort of wait until we need that one. So we've got a notebook over here in Jupyter, and this is kind of how I presented the class. The idea being, I kind of do like a scrolly telling technique. Put a lot of links to other stuff in here. So it's sort of this theme of reading and writing with notebooks. But when I'm like giving the class, I can go and do stuff like, oh, let's just go and change the font because we're talking about the guy who made this font, Herman Zapf, and it's fun for me. Anyway, then it goes away and we're sort of back to normal. One of the things that's sort of hard though is that this interface isn't as good with a screen reader as I think that it should be. And maybe I know I'm like totally idealist here, so that has put me in a place where I've been working on more like ARIA forward, accessibility forward, assistive. I don't know. I go pretty far with these ideas. So, if you want to say that I'm going to make them accessible, then they're perceivable, operable, understandable, and robust. But then since they have data visualizations in there, then they should be compromising, assistive, and flexible, which are the chartability principles. But then we also have to think about designing with ARIA, and the first rule of ARIA is not to use ARIA, but I have abused that. But kind of what they're saying is use semantic HTML. And then don't fuck with the roles is number 2. But again, I do that stuff. But again, I hope I'm being consistent with the rules. So this gives us a very... I'm going to draw a really fancy H, maybe even a fancy T, right? Because like when I show you this thing, it's not fancy, right? It's the basic ass HTML. Like, I've not tried to style it. I've tried to like use as many defaults as possible. I've overwritten some stuff that's not sane. But when we get to this and we look at like the screen reader experience, it bops. And then I'm going to turn on my phone and start showing it over there. And I think that will be a really fun sort of synthesis of everything, right? So like this notebook is from a course, and it's the first part of the course. It's about computational literacy, then hypermedia, and we talk about collage, testing, aesthetics, and demoing. And then hopefully we get there. It's hard. The first time I did this, I like interactively streamed the lecture with an audience. This is a GitHub version of it. If folks are interested, maybe I put it in the chat, because I don't know what these chat things are going to leave me as far as like breadcrumbs for the future or whatever. So that's there. And then here's the HTML view that I'm going to be using, and I actually think it's pretty okay on mobile. And that's like one of the things that we don't really hit on very much. So we've got this HTML here, and yeah, both of these Jupyter and HTML views are largely targeted as desktop, because that's like the original goal. But there's such like a focus on programming and like writing notebooks that I think we sort of deny some of the value of just being able to read these things and reuse them and share them. So we're going to look at mobile at the same time. And this is when it's going to get so funky. I'm so excited. When things are boring, you make the calligraphy fancy. So let's hit a mobile here. And let's make this bee kind of do like buzzing like a buzz. Mobile. Okay. And then this is sort of the outline. So in the middle, we're going to kind of look at stuff visually. We're going to hear stuff on the screen reader. I'm going to talk about some of these things. But the test is, I don't know, I've heard like things before, like about giving presentations where you should only show, I don't know, like the audience should just fucking understand. Like that's crazy, right? Like you've organized this thing without any design experience, just like a shit ton of domain knowledge with your nerd friends, and now everybody in the audience should get this. It takes a lot of work. And it takes a lot of time. So, how do I get? That takes a lot of work. I lost my. I started thinking about how much work there is in sharing. Man, I completely lost my train of thought. I don't know what's going on. Feels weird, as you get older, you're like, where the fuck did my thoughts go? We're talking... Oh, yeah. Visually, somebody should see your slide and just get it. If you can't see, if you have low vision, that's a messed up assumption. And so if you start thinking that way... and you start realizing, I'm going to need to design this thing to be, to make print accessible, to make it the assistive technology accessible. then you're going to have to include pretty much everything that you want to present into text. And, it gets me to this place where, like, if you have aphasia, is the idea of a presentation even equitable for you? So, if you are having a bout of aphasia, if you've got a terribly sore throat, if you're a friend of mine had to give a presentation at a specific time the other day and they were ill. So what are your options here? So maybe, just maybe, we could say, hey, I guess our screen reader's on, is it? Okay, there we go. Now it's. Okay. Let's give it a restart because the screen reader wasn't up just yet. But yeah, cool. So I think what the concept I'm trying to present here is, what if you made the content in such a way that it was screen reader ready? And what if the screen reader could just present for you? Presenter absentia is effectively what I'm looking at. It's almost this concept that let's kill this light a little bit here. We did our drawing. But I keep thinking, from a trauma-informed way, my identity might be triggering or unfavorable to somebody. And I almost like this idea of figuring out how to neutralize the content so it sounds like something in a really long time. So I've got this lecture, right? I've got these slides, and people make slides for their presentations, and they put a lot of work into it. And a lot of times they don't put as much work and effort into the production of the video. And neither do the conferences, right? Think about the difference of being at a conference and having to stand up in accessibility. Think about being at a conference and standing up versus being at home and sitting at your desk. They're very different ways of presenting. Like when I do streams, I make sure to stand up because I think it's like a physical activity. So as we're like moving through these things, just thinking about sort of like the restrictions of the presentation medium is really important to me. It's in the next lecture. What a bunch of hooey. So in the next lecture, we actually talk about hypermedia and hypertext. And there's this thing, I almost basically distracted me from the whole fucking class because, see, hands are fun, but let's make them small, keep them out of the way. Anyway, in Ted Nelson's paper where he introduces the idea of hypertext and hypermedia, like right afterwards, he at the end here he says the films record blah 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 hyperfilm. Is that where he first says hyperfilm? Hyperfilm. The hyperfilm, a browsable varied sequence, is only one of the possible hypermedia that require our attention. I'm obsessed with this idea, right? Why? Why do we go so hard on? Let's actually listen to it. Oops. Why haven't we talked about or explored this? And I think what we're doing is we're doing it exactly right now. Like I think that in some way, like I've always thought about the notebook as a sort of collage of hypermedia. But this idea of it being a lattice also makes a lot of sense. When you lay out a notebook presentation, you change the lattice structure of it. You change the lattice structure of the hypermedia, the interrelationships of it. So in some way, to me, I feel like we're like right now with streaming, with the annotations, with the film that goes along with the notebook. And this is not a new concept. This is something the Oriole. I got one. Yeah, the old concept of Oriole notebooks had this in 2016, so like 9 years ago. So I think that Paco and his team were way ahead of their time in thinking about hyperfilm, and I bet you I probably should have tried to talk to them about Ted Nelson at some point, but I kind of came late to his writing, and his YouTube channel is pretty wicked. It's very fun, very fun. But anyway, this hyperfilm concept. How can somebody experience my presentation, without me there? That's sort of where we are. And we talk about the work that goes into a presentation. We do work to fill time. What if we did work to optimize time? What if we designed it for the media? What if we designed it to be a hyperfilm? And I think in a lot of ways this is sort of what skateboarding does and BMX videos and kind of extreme sports videos. Especially when you get to the Red Bull level of stuff. They're really experimenting with, a lot of the media and what you can do building wise and videography wise. Really good stuff. Anyway, all of this stuff is really still influenced by Donald Knuth here, right? So, we're going to give this class, and then I can hit the I key and I can walk us through the topics. And now, I don't know, there's a level of control that you get when you start to consider the screen reader. The screen reader itself is not just an audible change to the computer. It's actually like a change in how you're going to use the keyboard. And that's another thing. That's another thing that kind of barfs over on Jupiterland because of how the keyboards are handled. But anyway, so, okay. All right. So what we're doing here is we're looking at like an experimental thing that I've done. And yeah, right here there should be a flowchart rendered, a mermaid flowchart. I've got to go and add that. That shouldn't be too difficult. I don't want to go and like do it live, real time. Um, but so let's just keep running through the presentation because this is how I work the content because it's not just what it looks like, but also what it sounds like. So okay, so my code cells are missing the code number, and in the other examples that I've done um, in the past, let's just pick one here, and let's go to H, um, and let's read through. See, so that announcement of the cell number is something that this interface needs. Usually, I've written my reference implementations in Python. This one is actually written in Node and D3. So I'm still kind of, at least I'm like super familiar with writing this stuff in Python. Still getting like familiar again with JavaScript. But I really kind of like, even though Mermaid didn't work, we could still kind of work out. What this plain text diagram was. It's small and it's not too complex. It is interesting to think about how we might be able to like semantically enrich some of these things, perhaps with some like little span elements or something, and just give some better ergonomics. But that wasn't too bad. But let's hear about Donald Knuth. Are you not hearing the street? Are you not hearing the screen reader? It looks like on Oh wow, that's fucked up, man. Oh shit. All right. How do I fix that? Ha! 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 Bummer. Okay. All right. Oh man, this keyboard's so old. Thanks for being here, Paul. That's so funny. I thought I had this set up properly, um, but let's see. Audio output capture. Okay. Okay. And wow. Okay. Something is not. Man, that's the bit that's a little bit annoying here because like the only benefit of this is actually with the screen reader. Um I did do some yeah, no, thanks for being here. I might have to restart and then see if I can like just connect real fast. Okay, all right. I can't seem to make a live fix. The crazy thing is my screen reader's just fucking yelling at me while it's all going on. Audio, desktop audio is disabled. How about this? Let's try this. Apply. Okay. And then. Okay. Nope. Okay. Probably should have lagged. Chat rate 3. Cool. Man, bummer. This feels like total restart situation. Mic is working. Let me just try and think about this again. Lock volume, properties, default built-in analog audio. Is that doing it? Nothing. This is annoying. We did have it set up properly before, but not anymore. All right. Honestly, I don't really give a shit about what notebooks look like. That looked like it moved a little bit. What the fuck are you doing? I'm just really care about what they sound like. So if I'm not hearing the audio, all right, fuck it. I'm gonna be right back. This is not. I wonder what could be causing this to be. Okay. All right. Man, I'm sad. I wanted to do this. Usually this works better. Is it cut? I'm streaming. Start. Man. What? Hey. That made some noises.
Screen reader on. OBS 30.2.3 profile colon. Untitled dash scenes colon. Untitled frame. Device combo box collapsed. List. Built dash in audio analog stereo. 05 push button. Screen reader off. Screen reader on. OBS 30.2.3 profile colon. Untitled dash scenes colon. Untitled frame. Device combo box collapsed. List. Built dash in audio analog stereo. Win.
I don't know if it came back.
Window. Escape.
Super duper silly.
Win.
Why can't I hear anything?
Window. Software N. O-U-N-D. Settings sound return.
Because I'm on Linux, is that why?
Combo
Analog
box.
output,
Settings frame.
Okay.
Screen reader off.
Alright. And I hear 0 screen reader. So.
Screen reader on. At 0,287 semi-VDHF frame.
To fix my situation here.
Screen reader on. At 0,287 semi-VDHF frame.
Man. I wish that this went better. I kind of wanted to do this as sort of a stress reliever.
Window. OBS
not as a stress adder. But hey, why not? I'm gonna try and figure out how I can redeem myself here. I'm gonna show you this notebook though, if you're still paying attention.
0,287
this is the notebook I kind of used to. Oh no! Don't break MV Viewer. Come on. Yeah, no, that pretty much makes sense there, doesn't it? That's probably I wonder whose GitHub rate is that sad about. That sucks. All right. This demo is just
left bracket left bracket A /ins underactive caret left return.
Jesus. And then there's still audio coming out of my machine.
Left bracket
I don't even
screen reader
know what to say about that. Okay, it looks like I just killed the screen reader, so that's probably pretty good. Yeah, thanks, Paul. I appreciate that. I usually would give that advice to somebody else, too. But right now, I'm just like, I did all the setup, like the good hour of setup. And I was like, yes, we are ready to go. And here we are. Okay, let me see. Okay, so I want to see what happens. I can hear music. I just can't hear the screen reader, which is weird. So that's coming through my headphones. And it's not coming through your... It's not coming through to OBS. That's okay. Okay. Let's get that. Let's hit okay. Nope. All right, looks like we lost it all.
Screen reader
but
on.
if I turn on the
OBS
screen reader, it goes.
30.2.3 profile
That's so
colon.
crazy.
Untitled dash scenes colon. Untitled
I don't
frame.
even know what to
Device
say
combo
about
box
any of
collapsed.
that.
List. Built dash in audio analog stereo. Screen reader off.
'Cause I can't
Screen
hear
reader
it.
on. OBS.
Huh. All right, screen reader's off. Fine. Let's try this then. Here's our backup plan.
Fuck. Cancel letter X push button. Member.
Yeah, I know you're hearing it. I can't. So I'm gonna try here. I was gonna. I'm gonna try something out. Yeah, I'm glad you could hear it. That would, if I could hear it, we would be going at like warp speed. But I got. Oh my god.
Yes. Tab.
UX play.
Return. Using system MAC address 18:CC:18:DC:77 E7 initialized server socket left paren S right paren.
Alright.
Accept.
Okay. So this should be a phone. And then no, you don't get that screen reader either. Bonkers. Hey, yeah, man. So this is my phone. I was gonna try and go through it. At
0,287
but now that I think about it, here's what I can do. Okay, I'm gonna adapt. We're not gonna do screen reader stuff now, even though it would have been really fun. I'm gonna show that in a second. I know what we're going to do. So let me get back my Windows of junk, and then we're gonna go over here, and we're gonna. Oh, this wasn't Mayan index.html. Is it this one?
Screen dimmed.
Okay, it looks like this is no, not the one. We'll get this. All right, so I'm going to talk about low vision this time. Usually I don't do that, and I'm going to talk a little bit about presentations. This is, I'm still trying to regroup here, but once we get there, this is still good, right? Because like one of the things that kind of sucks about notebooks is their mobile experience, and like even NB Viewer, like when I share, I probably should just have my phone.
Window collapsed. /bin/frame.
Yeah,
/bin/page tab. New line.
Voiceover off.
Okay. So if I've got my phone, I wonder if I'm gonna get any API errors on mobile here. Let's see. Okay. So this is the same notebook that we're seeing behind it. And if I go and I take a look at something on like NB Viewer that I've done, NB Viewer, let's just pick something here. What you got? NB Viewer Roulette. Maybe NB. I wonder if anybody's crawling NB Viewer for AI junk. So it doesn't look like we can use this service right now, which gets me to having your own standalone site, I guess, because I can't get my videos. Anyway, all right. So we're on mobile here, and this mobile view, I'm just gonna let you believe that it's better. But I added so especially when we rotate it. I keep thinking about like when you're presenting, you know, you have to like stand. Oh man, you can't. I have no face here. Let me see if I can open up So I've got this notebook called Videos. Uh, 888. Made it recently. That seems about right. Again, no more notebook roulette. No kernel. All right. Oh, yep. There's the updated one. We don't need this. But come on. Give me permissions. Nice. All right. So that's my camera. So now you can see me. And then
window XOBS window Firefox G3 Fire expand to live.
Cool. Yeah. You believe me. That's funny. All right. Where's my out? Oh, are they not gonna? All right. So let's do it this way. Save notebook as HTML. This is how janky my shit is. This is what happens when you don't have a job and resources. It's just like janky shit. So hopefully this one is like, yo, you can have the camera now. Or it's just gonna not do it because it's a file. I hate today. I just wish it was going a little bit differently. This one, nope. That's not going to give it to me either. Somebody, for the love of God. I don't understand. I wonder, are they not no kernel? Just give it to me. So the idea here is that I've got all of my camera outputs that I can just get in picture. Allow. Okay, great. Finally. There I am. That sucks. That's great. Good. Found me. All right, so that's one camera down. Oh, Paul, it looks like I've got something. There's less leaks in this boat, and now my hand's there. Oh, finally, yes. Oh yeah, no, I hate doing that shit. I'm afraid of the command line. Yes, there we go. And now we've got the keyboard. Now everything is more creditable, right? But yeah, no, I just make these like little individual notebooks, and it's like, oh, now I know how the standards for this shit, and now I can stream from it. So that's fun. Anyway, let's talk about low vision. Recently I was Jupyter Light or Jupyter Notebook does a really good job with 400% zoom. This isn't the notebook, is it? Open with notebook. Lab has too much clutter, and window. I can't stream with it as easily. Yeah, all right, so we are in, yeah, so if I was going to show, so let's crank up the zoom, and this is good. The only thing that needs to go away is like some media query to get rid of the header there. But like for the most part, like this is like really high quality zoom work, which like kind of puts it in a good WCAG level. I think there was a significant PR by somebody to make all this work. Actually, several people. But yeah, if this went away, that would be like an absolute dream. So if I am thinking of, so first of all, I'm going to just do presentation mode. And what that means is the text is just bigger. So on mobile, this is better. If you're sharing with somebody at a conference or during, hallway track or whatever. But again, we can start pretty much cranking up the zoom here, get the constraints, and this actually reads really well. It's a really good kind of low vision mode. And now, what we'd want to do at some point is these notebooks are actually are they going to let me tab to it? No, they won't let me tab to it. Let me see if I can go over. Oh, they won't give it to me. Okay, I was wondering if I was going to get a reader mode with this. But maybe if I zoom out, maybe not. No reader mode. But yeah, that's good. But now, if you have like really, really low vision, and you're a magnifier user, so let's crank this up. and we'll go up to 500%, okay? Because this is realistic for some people. So now what I have to do is, since some of the words like overflow here, I have to kind of go back and forth. I have to go back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And that carriage returning makes it challenging to read stuff. So one of the things that we have in the, so again here, like this, to read this, nobody needs me. I don't know why. I'm just here to like make it not look like it's AI, I guess. So we have a heading. We'd have to carriage return back and forth, left, right. That's very challenging. One of the ways that we can avoid doing that and actually have like a better low vision experience is by triggering this thing that I put in here called wide mode. And in wide mode, it lets whole lines continue along, right? So if I am low vision, if I'm print disabled and I need larger text, the scrolling's a little bit clunky. I wish that was a little bit better. But also too, I could go and even turn on the magnifier and have pretty good resolution now too, and be kind of scrolling along, moving the words through the screen depending upon how you might want to read. Yeah, so we often don't think about this, but it's kind of interesting when we get to say, you know, if we have scientific images. This isn't a scientific image, but if I wanted to try and read this badge, I'd have the magnifier here. Sometimes we don't consider like the accessibility tools of science themselves and like needing to be able to do zooming and like that. So it's kind of interesting to be able to put all of these like concepts to the forefront. And of course my computer crashed.
Connecting ... check. OBS 30.2.3 profile : untitled scenes : screen reader off. Screen Mozilla Firefox. OBS 30.2 screen reader off.
Man, you know, at this point I'm just kind of fucking sad. I don't know why I keep even trying. Like, I just want to get some good footage and like put it the fuck together. I wish I didn't break my machine. I wish I had a little bit better of a machine. Sometimes it's hard with new software to do stuff. It just gets progressively more resource intensive. Yeah, I don't really have the ability at the Mo. Hopefully next year I get a new machine. Start a temp job doing accessibility stuff. Maybe it'll be fine. I don't fucking know. Thanks for still being here, Paul. It says excellent connection now. My mic's working. I don't even know if I'm afraid to hit keys at this point. Like, every time I hit keys the last time, shit just went tits up. Fuck, man. Alright, what am I gonna do? So we were doing low vision stuff. So we got wide mode, presentation mode, and then we had slide mode. So this is something that I've been experimenting with, and this is kind of an approach that I can use, and it's just using CSS sticky. What's a presentation? A presentation is like a 2D layout of linear cells, right? So instead of just having like up-down affordances, you kind of are adding left-right affordances. It's like a primary thing, right? Like in Rise, there were the different sections. But since I write these like weird-ass notebooks, I don't think you're very familiar. I don't think folks are going to be generally familiar. Literacy, literate programming 1. Yeah, this one. Pretty much all of my cells are written as a slide. And I do that by writing this is the cell magic. I stole the null alias. Then I can just like put HTML and yeah, right. I mean, it's just science. It isn't science just Sisyphean, right? But yeah, so this stuff gives me Jinja templates in here. So basically, I can make like short little block quotes. And what's cool is like you get to like separate out the variables that you use in your code from the variables that you use in publishing. Since I'm writing it this way, like every cell is a slide. So now with some horizontal scroll and some sticky, I can kind of be moving through pretty easily here. It's usually good when I get going. This stuff's supposed to be a stress reliever for me. I don't know. I miss. It makes me think of like when I used to like skate. I've been rollerblading again, but like I'm definitely not gonna film myself doing that shit at this age. Filming your practice is always kind of helpful to me. So as we start moving through this notebook, we can kind of move left and right. This initializes some stuff, and now we've got a flow chart here. And I am going to see if God's on my side real fast. I'm going to delete the audio capture. And then I'm going to go and add an audio capture. I don't know what add existing means. Make source visible. Okay. Default built-in analog stereo. Okay. Nothing. No, I tried. Anyway. Oh, wait. No.
Screen reader on. OBS 30.2.3 profile colon. Untitled dash scenes colon. Untitled frame. Device combo box collapsed. List. Default. 05 push button.
But
Screen
anyway,
reader
hopefully
off.
that shit fucking stops. There we go. It's stopping. Okay, great. So anyway, more on slide mode. So we're continuing through, and this is fun. Super great. And this gets me to thinking like, so this implementation that I have here, if we go and like look at the source, no, that's not the right source, is it? And let's do inspect elements here. It's a lot of semantic information in here. So it is a custom role, but the primary goal of this is to actually dial in the inspect the accessibility tree. I've been slowly working on that here. If we go through and we start looking, this appears to a screen reader user as a list, and they can kind of like list through all the cells. Pretty fun. I am just like rambling here, and then I was going to do my favorite part about this kind of mode. Let me go and UX play, and then I'm going to do my phone thing. And we're going to look at, do the phone thing. All right, great. Let's do it wide mode, right? So again, like the ultimate goal, we should be able to like just present on the go. So right now, this is, I'm pretty sure I cranked this to 200% zoom, right? So that helps. Let's go into our settings here. And let's do presentation mode, and then we're going to do slide mode. And now, if we get the size right, it's beautiful. So now our cells sort of slide in. It actually feels like slides. And, I can feel and touch and move it. It's pretty good. Mind you, this is from the phone. So it really kind of gets to that like multimedia aspect of things. So we keep moving through the cells. They're pretty easy to navigate. Some of the linking and jumping doesn't work too well. But if we look at like the history of presentation frameworks, they're fucking impossible to maintain and support. So it's kind of interesting to think about what happens if we can get this stuff in CSS land, and actually think about like what degrees of freedom sort of open up when we start thinking about mobile a little bit, right? If we can write less code with AI, if people start using, people are using AI as assistive technology. They're just privileged and they won't acknowledge it. That would be against their general ableism. Oh yeah, let's do a low vision mode. So we took off slide mode. Slide mode doesn't work very great for low vision mode. And presentation mode's good. We want that. And now we've got wide mode. So now I can go. This is actually probably one of the best situations for somebody low vision with a tablet. Is now I can just go and kind of navigate along each line. I can control it with my finger. It's very touchable. It actually feels a lot more like paper. It's sort of like reading with your finger at this point. Yeah. So you can see, like, at this level that we're thinking about, you know, all of the style and all the cruft that we put into stuff doesn't really matter, because, like, somebody just needs to read this shit. They don't need to know that we wrote the thing that we're reading, or that our brand wrote the thing that we're reading. We just need to know that it's AI or not AI, because that's actually important. Hopefully they get that situation sorted out with HTML soon, and how we're going to do that. Yeah, this is just it's weird, right? Like, I think I traditionally heard notebooks talked about from the perspective of static versus interactive, right? But, like, I think what we're sort of demonstrating here is that even a static notebook is incredibly interactive. Especially when you start to get it in your hands, and you can do with a carriage return, hyperlink at the left. Yeah, I don't know. That would definitely be something to test out with users. It's a good idea, right? Yeah, I think it depends. There's Yeah, no, I hear you. I hear you. It's a cool idea. I really do like it. I've never thought about that, because it's very it's at when you're touching it, when you're using the phone, not a problem. If you do have tremors, it might be a problem. So, yeah, you know, I think you're onto something about thinking about how. So the idea is like, what I'm curious about are, like, what are the baseline semantics for the notebooks, right? Like, what's the most general way we can do this, and then, like, how do we benefit from just using sort of the basics, considering all of web content accessibility guidelines, ARIA, things along those lines. I don't really think anybody's done that, right? Like, there's been a lot of stuff that goes around Jupyter being accessible, but I haven't really seen anybody address the notebook itself being accessible. We've experimented with that, and here's the rub. Let's see. I think I have a note. Let's see. What do I have? Notebooks for all. So yeah, notebooks for all. What's this? Okay. Here's a note. Here's a older iteration. Does this have it? Yeah, this might have it. Settings. Okay. So, in the Notebooks for All project, we were able to actually get disabled testers paid. And, like, historically marginalized, disabled, disenfranchised folks don't get paid for their labor. So, I have been very hesitant to ask people to help me in that way. So, rather, the way that I have been designing and thinking about this stuff is what are the degrees of freedom that somebody would want? What are the features that somebody would want? Like in this one actually has a more complete sort of settings approach. This is where I first did the horizontal scrolling approach. Of course, dark mode and light mode are accessibility preferences. Being able to change the line height definitely helps some people cognitive accessibility wise. This is a feature for the screen reader that actually changes how the screen reader can navigate cells. A list has item navigation. A table has arrow key navigation. There are a few different modes and ways to kind of move around with a screen reader. So we give different versions of that. And when it comes to WCAG preferences and web content accessibility guideline priorities, I'm not doing the bidding of anybody. So this is for disabled folks. So I try and go for AAA, but then make some features kind of go away. It usually brings in a more denser, cognitively intense experience. Margins go away, can be changed. You can sticky. I don't know what the fuck sticky does. Invert. A magnifier user often some depending upon your visual disability, you might prefer this inverted mode. So a magnifier user might have that set as a preference, but again, like it might not always be there. They might not always be using their device. So let's give them invert mode. Let's get rid of color. Look at your shit without color. It's important to understand how you communicate. WCAG. WCAG. Access key navigation. Everybody says not to use access keys, but I think it's okay to use the numbered ones. So now I can bop around cells real fast. That actually kind of looks like a piano, I guess. That's the closest I've ever gotten to playing a piano. So what other settings do we have here? Font size. So, this is where I got my first taste of like thinking about the low vision mode, because I had gone and I think CSS goes up to like extra large or something. But somebody who that I talk with who studies galaxies wanted it bigger. So this is bigger. And it actually works really well with, oh my god, the inputs here. Where's wide mode? Oh my god, I gotta get out of here. This is crazy. Invert. Let me crank down the size, and then let me go to wide mode. How do I get to wide mode? Yeah. No, it's interesting to think about the color mode. Where's the thing? Oh, horizontal scrolling. That was the feature. Okay, so now so remember I turned on the magnifier and that broke my machine. Like literally just destroyed my machine. Everything went to heck. Now this kind of, I guess this makes images super huge. This kind of gives that same ability, but now we haven't turned on the magnifier. And with the arrow, I can kind of move along. So again, this is that wide mode format, and I see what you're saying about the carriage return. It'd be like really nice to, what you might need. You know what the feature might be, Paul? It might be a keyboard combo or something that just scrolls down enough and then moves you to the left and sets focus over there, right? The color thing at the airport, the color's changing when they're looking at your stuff through security. You actually see more stuff when color's changing and color's moving. So, All right, now I got to figure out how to undo what I did. I think if I just I'm going to give it a hard refresh. Shift R. I guess I doubt you've ever heard of, backspace is cool. Yeah. And I like when things like relate back to old physical stuff too. Oh my god, I guess I like wrote this code correctly because there were I must have I put the settings in cookies so that people have this stuff throughout their like whole documentation, right? But yeah, this notebook was about the Notebooks for All project, where I actually got the chance to like work with a bunch of really good people and figure out how to make accessible notebooks. So this is kind of like my first go at it, and now I'm trying to implement it like for reals, for reals. I've done it in Python, and now I'm trying to do it, and now I've got most of the way in D3. That's what this version is. It lacks a bunch of these settings, but again, we put all these settings here, just like really hoping for folks to come along and be able to test this stuff, and hopefully pay them when they do. And now here's another thing that is an addition that I can't really demo. It kind of sucks because it's a screen reader only thing, but it's called Aria Live. So for what Aria Live is it does announcements to a screen reader. So when we run these commands and we change the font size, it actually announces to the screen reader that the font size has been changed. And it basically becomes like a visual log for what's happening in your like single page application here. So this is how you can like visually see what's happened, but then maybe even like go and undo something. Like, I don't want that anymore. Let's go undo those settings or something along those lines. But these are some of the accessibility settings that kind of like came to light as we were all kind of designing together. And yeah, hopefully we can get some folks compensated to actually test that stuff. We're making a lot of progress. I think like at least the structure of these notebooks is pretty spot on right now. There's a lot of hours that have gone into it, and effectively what we can do with work like this is we have a reference implementation for what other applications should look like. So if we keep pushing on this, if we get people to test this, this like reader mode is kind of the baseline for stuff. So do people want a list? When people get the list, how do they want to hear the cells? Do they want to hear them announced this way? Or do they, I think over in this astronomy notebook, they're going to present a different way. Which one's this? That's not this one. Inspect, accessibility properties. Come on. There they are. Okay, so in this one, we probably have a little bit different a structure. Yeah, so my goal is to like keep getting, it's like HTML bonsai, trying to get the accessibility tree to look a certain way in your HTML. So like any existing notebook application could come out looking like this and give a significantly better navigation experience to screen reader users and assistive technology people. Yeah. I really wish the screen reader worked. Thanks for hanging in here with me, Paul. It was fun. I don't know. Have we ever like really talked as humans? If you want to do that sometime, that would be really fucking fun. But maybe one day I'll get my screen reader working. Pissed that the screen reader didn't work today. When it does work, it's great. Anyway, yeah, thanks for hanging in. Let's find a way to get in touch if you're down for that. Let me see. Is there anything else in here I want to talk about? Emptying cells. I'll actually probably be able to pull a few clips from this, which is good. That's kind of what I was looking for. Show and hide components. Yeah, that probably wasn't the best environment. Sensory. Oh, I didn't know I was sensory overloaded at the time. I can't imagine how I existed as a human before I ever got diagnosed with anything. Yeah, what are we still in slide mode? Oh, we're still in slide mode. Yeah, this one I didn't even demo this in. If you wanna, I'm actually gonna I'll drop a link. I'll reach out to you on one of the platforms. If you want to take a look at this here, and creep around in it, there's that. And then here's one of the. I guess this is just my blog. Yeah, this is just something from my blog. There's lots of things on there. Cool. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, no, this slide mode, I didn't show it, but the slide mode really goes super well in on mobile. It feels like you're like sliding index cards or like a deck of cards in your hand. I kind of really just, I don't know, like I don't think we should be writing so much code. So like what happens when we don't write so much code? And like accessibility gets you thinking about things tactilely and audibly. So, you know, more of that. Cool. We'll be in touch, man. Take care of you. Thanks for hanging. I'm ending it. Peace.